What you're seeing on the screen here is a picture I drew on a eraser board that I own. Where do I start? Um, we're under this indoctrination that we live on a spinning globe, such as I show you up there in the left corner. And this thing is supposed to be spinning 1,038 miles per hour, like as you speak at any time. Right now. 1,038 miles per hour. We're supposed to be on this thing, spinning. 1,038 miles per hour. Also, this thing is supposed to be tilted on an axis. This red line up here being the North Pole, this red line being the South Pole. So, that being said, it's spinning in an eastward direction, as indicated by this black arrow that I've drawn. 1,038 miles per hour. Okay, let's talk angles. Paid attention when I was in school. Paid attention in geometry. I know that there is a thing such as what you call an x-axis. That would be from left to right, horizontally. Right here, x-axis. This is the plane in which you lie down on. When you lie down and go to sleep, you lie your body down on the x-axis. Over here on the right side of my screen, your screen, I've drawn a body of water. Okay, now our Earth, this ball, is supposed to be 71% water, 29% land. 71% water, 29% land. More water than land. Okay, that's like damn near 3/4 to a quarter worth of water. 2/3 to a third, if you will, however you want to look at it. More water than land. Water always settles flat on top. On the x-axis, finds its own x-axis and settles flat when it's resting. Still bodies of water, like lakes and ponds, which are not fed by oceans, all settle flat like this, motionless. The ocean, flat like this for miles, hundreds of miles. Now, water, fluids, H2O, people. Anything inside of a cup, a pot, a bowl, a bucket. Water fills its container. What did I do with it? Water seeks ground zero, fills the container, and settles flat on top. Water always settles flat on top. I were to fill this bowl with water, any kind of fluid, without letting it overflow, it would settle flat on top. Just as you see over here. Okay? That's a given. Doesn't matter what your religion is, what your faith is, what you believe. The laws of physics of water are always consistent across the world. Not around the world, but across the world. Across the plane we live on. When I say the earth is flat, there are mountains. We have valleys, dips in our land. We have hills in our land, but the horizon, where water settles, where you lay your body when you sleep, The x-axis always settles there. Okay? Now, this x-axis, we learned this in geometry. It's an angular line. Okay? X-axis. Perpendicular to that would be the y-axis. It's the one that when you wake up in the morning, you stand upright, vertical. When you're balanced, you stand upright on the y-axis, which, like I said, is perpendicular to the x-axis. Where they meet, you have a 90-degree angle. That's how you know they're perpendicular. That's what it means, 90 degrees away from angular. You form a square. SQ square. Like I said, balancing. When you stand up, you wake up in the morning and you stand up, upright. You're standing on your vertical axis. And how is that? If you're spinning on a ball that's tilted 23.4 degrees off of the y-axis. Okay? If I take any ball, if this were a basketball, even if I spun this on the floor, on a plane, took this ball, spun it, let it free spin, the base of this ball is going to be sitting on the x-axis at this point of where the ball would touch the ground. Where this ball would rest on the plane would be on the vertical axis where it meets the ground. Just like the y-axis does. When you stand up vertical, you're perpendicular to the x-axis. The laws of physics work on the same thing. You spin a ball, it's going to spin on this axis. You can't make a ball, you can't get a ball to spin like this diagonally, because where that ball is going to be touching the ground, it's going to be down here on the bottom where it meets the plane, not out here. Balls don't spin like this freely. They do spin like this freely on the y-axis, okay? But they got us tilted 23.4 degrees. The congruent angle, which would be the opposite angle, is 66.6 degrees lifted away from the x-axis. The plane in which we live on, I find this number very suspicious in their model. When water rests on this plane, the x, you lie down on this plane. If you faint and fall down, you will be lying down on the x-axis. You're not going to be lying down on some slanted tilt. Y-axis is up and down. The x-axis is left and right. Where they meet is where you are standing, your point of reference. If you're standing on a plane, and if you go outside and you let a helium balloon go up, you just let it go and it's going to go straight up on the y-axis. It's not going to go off on an angle this way like they have it on this tilted hell ball. Up is up, not diagonal. Your northern hemisphere is not diagonal. It's straight up over your head. The northern heavens are straight up over your head. They're not off at a diagonal. It's not off. Let me point to the object I drew down here in the left-hand bottom side of the screen. For all you people that believe you are on a spinning ball, let me tell you something. Every human being that's born in this world is born with two ears, normally, unless there's birth defects. Point being, your ears have two functions: to pick up sound and motion of your body, your head motion. The motion of your body is picked up because of your ears. In your ears you have three semicircular tubes as I've drawn down here. These canals here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what they do, there's fluid in them, so I colored them blue to indicate that there's fluid. I'm not saying it's water, but there's some sort of fluid in these tubes that slosh around when you move your head or if your body's being moved around. When you come off of your y-axis, that apparatus there will let you know. This thing lets you know when you are not balanced, when you're not feeling your equilibrium, when you're having equilibrium problems. When a person has earaches, they tend to have balance problems or something to that nature. Because this thing down here, is screwed up something, maybe, the fluid. Hey, me, I have multiple sclerosis. I have problems with my balance when I stand up. I have problems with staying vertical on my y-axis. I either lean forward or backwards or left or right off of my y-axis, or some angular angle off of being steady straight up and down. When I come off of that y-axis, it's when I feel I'm unbalanced. My equilibrium screwed up, or I'm having vertigo or something. It's because my inner ear is letting me know I've just come off my y-axis and my body wants to get back up right. Tube number 1 on this diagram. When you tilt your head forward or back, that tube that's in your ear that's facing the direction you're looking, not like this, but say this is the tube. This finger here, this curvature of finger is one of these tubes down here. You have one that's angled from side to side from your viewpoint. You have one that's turned this way, that's turned in the direction you face. You have one that's kind of laid down flat on the x-axis to let you know, or either it's diagonal between these two perpendicular angles. Maybe it's diagonally or slanted some way, but it's to let you know when you're moving. When your head turns this way, that fluid sloshes around in that tube. Your head motion, tube motion. This way, head motion, tube motion. Forward, head motion, tube motion. Fluid sloshes around in these tubes that you see down here on the left. And the fluid makes some little bones activate in there, and they have a little hammer thing, and it pushes the fluid through this canal, which has little hairs in it. And those little hairs send electrical signals to your brain to let you know which direction you've just moved off of your y-axis. This thing here is designed to keep us upright, balanced. It's the sole reason for your balance, for you having equilibrium, for you knowing when you're still or moving. That's the mechanism right there. Okay? Now, when we get back to this piece of crap up here, we are told we are spinning. 1,038 miles per hour on that piece of crap, on that hell ball, on the impossible. And I call it an impossible because it's impossible. If that thing is spinning, like they say, and we live on it, then this will let every human being know that we are moving. Every single human being in this world will know that we are spinning unquestionably because of the inner ear motion sensor. That's what it is. It's your motion sensor. So when I tell people that we aren't spinning, under your feet is not moving like this ball, like this impossible says we are, and you look at me like I'm crazy, you're denying your own freaking senses that you're born with. Sight, sound, smell, taste, and feel. This thing here, these things here let you know they can feel the motion. The Creator gave you a mechanism to keep you upright and balanced. Let me take you back to your childhood for a second. Merry-go-rounds. Attract kids to them. We've all been on one where most of us have engaged on merry-go-rounds with our buddies. You run around that thing. You and your buddies get it to go as fast as you can, and then you hop on. You gotta hold on to them bars, or that thing wants to throw you off the edge. You have a sense of urgency for holding on because of that force called centrifugal force. Get that when things spin. Okay? If I wet a tennis ball and throw it through the air, the water is going to spin off of it as it moves through the atmosphere from the centrifugal force that comes from the spinning. Okay? You ever seen a wet animal and they real quick light and all the water flings off of them? It's because of centrifugal force. If you get in a vehicle, you go around that curve too fast, go around the curve too fast this way, that centrifugal force wants to throw you off to the right side of the vehicle. If you're making a right turn and you go around the corner too fast, or a curve or turn or bend, that centrifugal force wants to throw you off to the left. Now, I've never been on this amusement park ride, but I think they call it a gravitron or some crazy crap. I don't know what they call it. But anyway, it's designed like a bowl. You get in it, everybody stands around the edges of this wall on the interior, and it starts to slowly spin. And it gets faster and faster. Then so fast that if you spit, your buddy next to you might enjoy it. But that was supposed to be funny, I guess. But anyway, if it goes so fast that you are pressed against the back wall that's behind you, you can't get off this wall because this centrifugal force of this spin keeps you pressed to the wall. If that wall weren't there, you'd be out of here. It's called inertia, centrifugal force. Same thing that water does on that wet tennis ball. Same thing would have happened if you had a wall around the outside of your merry-go-round. You would be plastered to the inside of it as it spun. If you remove the wall from that amusement park ride, you're out of here, like I said. Like physics demands. We're not on a spinning ball, people. Why is this hard to get through people's heads? It's common sense. When you go outside and look at nature, nature doesn't lie. The physics of water doesn't lie. Trees is beautiful and is full cycle. I'm about to say right there, the full cycle of a tree's life. They're beautiful and they sprout these beautiful leaves. And, but there are times that wind moves through them and the trees react. They have a sense of, give off this sense of resistance, like the leaves start. Point is, when wind moves through trees, the leaves react. Your religion can't change that. Your belief system can't change that. Your being blind to truth can't change that. You telling the truth can't change that. It is what it is. Nature does not lie in any kind of way. It does what it does. Water settles flat. When wind moves through trees, it reacts. Still bodies of water remain still. Unless there's a wind blowing over it, you get some surface tension or whatever, surface reaction. But a pond or a lake, if we're spinning on a 1,038 mile an hour wet ball, no still body of water should have a glass top of a mirror effect of what's above. There should always be waves. Matter of fact, there shouldn't be any water in a still body situation. There should be no still bodies of water, period. And if we're spinning 1,038 miles an hour, due to this centrifugal force, this bulge that Neil the Snake in the Grass Tyson speaks about, how the earth is bulging out around the equator. So supposedly, he says that this equatorial space is fatter. It's wider at the equator than at the top or the bottom. So it's kind of being squished in like when you spin pizza dough. It's flatter around the edges. Okay, it's a big difference in pizza dough and a rock. Okay? Now, he says that the earth is now pear-shaped. Every image we get, as fake as they are, perfect spheres. NASA shows perfect spheres, spinning globes, but Neil the Snake in the Grass Tyson says it's pear-shaped. I think he got pear parfait for brains. Neil Snake in the Grass Tyson. Him and that other guy, Bill Nye, the lion guy. All them dudes are knuckleheads, sharp as bubbles. Freaking idiots. Satan's imps. Back to my discussion though. I once put up a video on my Facebook page about a reporter who went to a university that had a wind tunnel in it. They strap on a harness on this guy, strap him to the floor in front of him, and out in front of him is this giant wind tunnel. They turn it on and the wind is coming towards him. He's got a microphone in his hand, he's speaking to us what he's experiencing. They turn this wind tunnel up at increments of 10 miles per hour wind. In the beginning, this guy is pretty stout dude, he's strong, he's standing his ground, you can feel the wind is kind of blowing his clothes a little bit, but as they increase this wind, his His clothes start flapping. Almost. His clothes start flapping even more erratic. He has to lean forward literally because this wind makes him feel like he's about to be blown away even though he's strapped in. When they get past 50 and all that, those high wind speeds, his skin on his face is literally flapping like clothing would, like it's made out of tissue or something. That's how strong this wind was. Point is, hurricane force wind starts at about what, 70, 75 miles an hour. This kind of wind tears things up. Snaps branches, trees, telephone poles, debris and rubble everywhere. Again, we're expected to believe like, oh, right now we're spinning 1,038 miles per hour. Or just say over 1,000. And we don't feel it. Let a hurricane come through your town, you feel that. Just let me blow a little wind in your face, you feel that. Let me spin you around, you'll feel that. Where's the dizzy? Matter of fact, we shouldn't even know what trees look like. They would have all been uprooted if we're spinning that fast. We shouldn't even know what a tree looks like. I was coming down the street the other day and the wind was calm. There was no wind. Hold on. I woke up one day, checked the weather. The wind speed that was given was 0 miles per hour. We had no wind that day. I get outside. I see a woman coming towards me as I'm going down the sidewalk in my wheelchair. She has this long, pretty hair down to her shoulders. I'm not interested in this person as a woman. I was observing her hair, thinking to myself, if we're spinning, why isn't her hair moving? The only movement from her hair was from her bouncing walk. No hair blowing. We're not on a spinning ball. Under our feet does not move. The Bible. See, even the religious text says that we do not move. For you religious people, for you people who follow the Bible, who follow your Bible, say you love God, you go to church every Sunday. For you people who want to thump the Bible over people's heads. For you Jehovah's Witnesses who want to get out on the street in your little duos and only want to know if people know his name. So all you think about is, well, the name of him. Well, I'll tell you what, every religion has a name for God. That right there, God itself is a title for the Creator. Christians call him God. Jehovah's Witnesses call him Jehovah. Muslims call him Allah. Well, however you want to look at it, one Creator, one Supreme Creator. And in our religious text, your Jehovah's Witness Bible, I have one. I read through it. I compare it to the King James Bible. I compare it to the Quran. I even have a Quran. His cosmology of our earth is mentioned in all three of these books. And in all three of these books, it states that the sun, the moon, and the stars makes no mention of planets. It says the sun, the moon, and the stars. It makes mention of the sun and the moon being two great lights. One to rule the day, the sun, and one to rule the night, the moon. The two great luminaries. It says they were created on the fourth day of creation. And we know that there are 7 days in this creation process in all 3 of those books. In all religious texts, in the minds of men who follow religion and God, we know there are 7 days. Sun, the moon, and stars created on the 4th day and placed within the firmament, which was created on the 2nd day. So I proposed this question to a couple of pastors, a couple of people who claim to be Christian, who walk about flaunting their Christianity, who walk about with their Bibles and want to say, praise the Lord this and Jesus that, and oh, it's a blessed day, brother. I'm blessed, brother. Just Lord this, Lord that. But yet you deny the very foundation of the book that you read. It literally says that the sun, the moon, and the stars were created on the 4th day. Then you tell me, what was the earth rotating around for the first 3 days of creation, when the whole process wasn't even finished by day 4? Man hadn't even been created yet. But what was the earth rotating around for the first 3 days in your heliocentric model, where everything revolves or orbits around the sun that you worship? What was earth rotating around for the first 3 days? Preachers, teachers, pastors, you people who run our education systems, but mainly you preachers and teachers and people who are head of guiding us through the Bible and through religious texts and through our lives and for serving God. You leave that out. You support this. This is Satan's ball, hell ball. The Bible says we do not move. It uses words like immovable, motionless, stationary, stable, set upon foundations. So this thing has motion to it. The whole solar system model has a lot of motion going on. For one, like I said, this thing is on a tilted axis, which is supposed to be wobbling while it's spinning. So we got a spin going on while it's wobbling, going around the sun. It's 3 motions. Okay, this thing right here, wobbling and spinning all at the same time while it's moving around the sun. Okay, and then our solar system that the sun sits in is rotating around in this so-called Milky Way galaxy. And then that thing is moving through space. Moving through space. 5 different motions. 5. All contrary to what the Bible says. To what all religious texts say. I argue that the earth is flat and it's not a ball spinning. And you want to say, oh, the earth is round. Well, okay, yeah, it is round. A ball is round. But so is a plate, pancake, coin. So I'm not questioning whether it's round. That's not the argument. The juxtaposition, how are we supposed to say it? The comparison is spherical globe, round, flat round, like a disc, like a piece of clay with a round seal stamped in it. Job 38:14. The earth is set as a seal to the clay. So I was a welder in the Army for 9 years. No. I was a welder in the Army for 6 years. I served 9 years, but I was a welder for 6 of those years. My first 6 years, I was a welder. It's a pretty long time to be welding. I learned a few things as I welded. I learned that, or I know for a fact, that metal, once it reaches this melting point, it can hold no magnetism. It doesn't. It tends to lose its magnetism. So there's no liquid metal that it would be magnetized. This thing has a core that they say is the cause of what they say is gravity. Inside is supposed to be nickel and iron. In the center there would be like a huge, large marble-sized core in the middle of this that's supposed to be solid nickel and iron. And then around that is a molten core of nickel and iron encasing this solid ball. Then outside of that you have this mantle, what they call a mantle. It would be like below the seabeds. Then you have what you call our outer crust, which you walk your feet on and rebuild on and re-drill into and re-dig into. Well, this mantle, this outer crust of the earth, we look at, what we view as continents. We've only been able to drill 8 miles, a little less than 8 miles down into the crust of the earth. So the question is, if we've only been able to dig 8 miles, pardon my language, but I'm really going to say this. How the hell do they know what's in the middle? They've only been able to dig down 8 miles. This thing is supposed to be 25,000 miles around that circumference, so the radius would be about 12,000 something. Divided that in half and you get your the diameter would be like 12,000 something odd. The radius would be half of that. I tell you what, 8,000 miles into the crust is nowhere near knowing what's in the center of this thing. They can't know that. It's the impossible. Now, let's say they did make it to there and they know what's inside. Let's say it is nickel and iron. I'm here to tell you. They say that core temperature is 7,000 degrees Celsius. Yo, that's hot, yo. That's extremely, hot probably not even a word for it. Like I said, metal, it's melting, its magnetism at its melting point. Nickel and iron melt at a way far cooler temperature in the Fahrenheit range, mind you. There's no way this thing could have a core, a magnetic core at those temperatures. No. And think about this too. You have a wet ball with no inline feed to it to fuel its core. So you have a wet ball with fire inside. I want you to go get your lighter, put it under water, flick it, and let it burn. How do you get fire engulfed by water? Now, as far as I know, water puts fire out. Cools what's hot. 7,000 degrees Celsius, the impossible. This is a lie, people. You don't live on this. I want you to believe you live on this because this is but a speck of dust in the big picture of the ever-expanding outer fake space that they say we live in. And that there may be dwarf and mother planets and all kinds of other solar systems that have balls like this. How significant are we in that big old pot of soup? You're not. There's no God there. There's no creator. This came from what they call the Big Bang explosion. As resplendent as they make it, resplendent, adorned in beauty and made to be liked and admired, beautifully adorned, resplendent. That's what they do when they show you these things. Big old beautiful outer space sceneries of black holes and nebulas and space dust. How you get dust in space. That's what I mean. But anyway, you had this thing called a Big Bang. Boom! Explosion happened. From nothing. That right there goes against what the Bible says. And physics. In the Bible, it says that in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. God moved upon the face of the water. So what's that tell you? There was God. And he had this substance called water, which is pretty much the major component in our world. We bathe in it, we play in it, we wash in things in it, we cook with it, we drink it, we hydrate with it. We can't live without it. We are mostly water. Like I said, 71% water, 29% land. So in the beginning there was water, and whatever we are and have here in this world was created in that water. Because after the Bible states that there was a void, nothing there but God and water, he started creating by saying, let there be something. Light, the firmament, light on day one, the firmament on day two, light, solid landmass on day three, and the sun and the moon and the stars on day four. Day five, the beasts and creatures of the land, including man. On day six. When we are born, we're born into a body of water. We are created in a body of water. That your mother carried you around in a sack of water. Embryonic, I think they call it embryonic fluid or something. Can't have life without water. God knew that. So if in the beginning darkness was upon the face of the deep, and there was water before there was dry land, we had a wet ball that didn't have any land to it, just a bead of water. And God caused the land. You didn't see anything about putting fire in it. Oh. This spinning ball crap is ridiculous. Got people thinking you landed on the moon off of this.